Hey everybody, what's up? It is 8 o'clock Eastern. Good to see you. It's your friend James Shaw. Happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for choosing to be here and hang out with us because we're focused on helping you win in today's market. And this free call that you can be on every day is full of ideas that will help you succeed and thrive and win. And today I want to bring something up. I've been talking a lot about the market changing because it is. Inventory is up in every state across the country. Um, Values are softening in some areas. And now the data's come out that days to pending is up in 48 of the top 50 markets in the country. Now, some of you, it went from 4 to 5 days. Oh no. Oh no, whatever we're going to do. It went from 4 days to pending to 5 days to pending. But others, it's gone from 40 to 70. And so we want to pay attention and understand that and be prepared for it and know how to explain it to our sellers. And we're going to talk about that today. But before we do that, something good. Telly, good morning.
Morning, James. How are you? Hey, everyone. I just got back from 2.5 weeks off. Did a Disney cruise, a few days in Disney World, Discovery Cove, all that good stuff in Florida. Had an amazing time. This little one wanted to say, did you have an amazing time on the Disney cruise?
Yeah.
Say it louder.
Yeah.
We were on the Disney Treasure. It was amazing. If no one's ever done one, ladies, gentlemen, please do. They're amazing. It was a wonderful, wonderful time. So many memories, so much time I'll never, ever forget with my kids. So I hope everyone has an amazing day and you have the opportunity to do that one day.
The question everybody wants to know is, did you go into the Haunted Mansion Lounge? And if so, how was it?
Oh my God, that place was awesome. I had to go in it a couple times. It was so cool. The drinks were great. It was just a really, really cool atmosphere. It was just a lot of fun. And I emailed you, James, by the way, about when I did Guardians of the Galaxy. I had such a blast on it. That was so awesome.
It's a great ride. It's a ton of fun, and love that you had a great time on the Disney cruise. We're going on the Fantasy in March, so that's awesome, Telly. Thank you for sharing. Allie, you get the last one. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, James. Thanks for letting me share my something good. And today, my team has, or our team, our broker has asked me to speak about the importance of this call. So I want to thank you all for pouring into me, and I look forward to sharing again
That is so great. Your broker says that you need to share what with your market center about how
with our
valuable this
market
call
center.
is?
Sorry, yeah, it was our market center. Just the importance in trying to bring people in as much of a resource as you guys are so wonderful. I've been on the call for right around 3 years, so not forever, but it's such a great resource, and I wouldn't start my day without it. So that's what I intend to share.
Listen, you've been on about 70% of the time. Who is your broker? What market center are you in, Allie?
KW Elevate in Blue Ridge, Georgia.
I love it. Thank you so much for being willing
Thank
to
you.
share this in there. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thanks, Allie.
Thank you, my friend. Have a
You
great
got
day.
it. All right, couple announcements real quick before we get going. So again, we're talking about a lot. The market is just different. That's just we can't ignore it. And some of you I get are in places that are still moving quickly, but your inventory is going up and your days on market is lengthening a little bit. And even though it's moving super fast, maybe not as fast as a couple of years ago, and others of you are in markets that have really slowed down. Some of you are in markets that are seeing values move the other direction. All of those things are happening in all different ways, but I want to help you win. So we're doing a lot of stuff. First, you already know that we do Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. We have a free webinar that we do. It's a 20-minute webinar where I interview some agent who's doing something elite. And this week, on Wednesday at 2 o'clock Eastern, Ashley Wilson, my friend from Raleigh, she talk about selling homes at a high level. Several hundred homes a year is what her team does. She is going to go through her pre-list process because she has changed it to adapt for today's market. It's a little bit, I don't know, more specific to make sure that they're going on actual listing appointments and they're setting expectations with sellers before they go. So that is Wednesday at 2 Eastern. Wednesday webinar.jamesdshaw.com. I'll put the link in the chat, but I'd recommend you watch Ashley Wilson walk through her strategy and her process for pre-listing conversations with sellers. Wednesday at 2 o'clock Eastern, Wednesday webinar.jamesdshaw.com. Link will be in the chat in just a minute. Then finally, July 31st, we're going to host our shift workshop. This is a 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern or 11 to 3. I don't remember exactly, but it'll be during the middle of the day, Eastern time on July 31st. We're going to go through the key things you need to know from Shift, right? This book right here, which is why we started this call, and go through those things to help you thrive in a market that's changing and evolving, which your market is changing and evolving, and so I want you to be ready. That session is free for Inspire members. It's $39 for everybody else. It jumps to $59 in like 3 weeks. So you've got time to register at $39. Then the big question I got was, well, can a market center do like a watch party if they want? Can they host it and put it in their training room? Yes. We have a ticket for that. It's $500 if a market center wants to go buy it and then show it in their training room, and they could have 200 people come in, sit and watch it. So if that's something your market center is interested in, then they can just go again to the link, set up the watch party, and you're going to be good to go to be able to watch it as a group. I'll put both links in the chat here in just a minute as we get started, but save those dates. Wednesday at 2 Eastern for your pre-list process. That's a free webinar. And then Shift Workshop July 31st. I can't remember, it's 10 to 3 or 11 to 3, but the info's on the website. I'll put that link in the chat in just a minute as well. Now, why are we doing this? Because the market's evolving. Now, I have a subscription to Resi Club. I don't know if anybody else does. Put it in the chat. They just take different real estate relevant data and compile it in an easy to understand way. Inspire members, we have a discount for you, by the way, if you're interested in subscribing to them. They're giving you, it's basically half off. So that link is in the Facebook group. But the email they sent out yesterday was talking about what's going on with days to pending, right? So you go on the market and then you go under contract. And in May of 2022, in the US, the median days to pending was 6. It took less than a week to get a home pending in 2022. In May of 2025, 17 days. Now that's the median day to pending in the United States. And remember, whenever we talk about US numbers, it's like saying that the high today in the United States is 72 degrees. Like it gives you an idea, but it doesn't really mean anything. So a couple things I want you to look at are what's happened to inventory. Inventory in the US is up 32% year over year. Now we're still below pre-pandemic levels in the US, but it's up 32%. But again, it's like saying the high today in the United States is 72 degrees. He went in, and I'll share my screen with you. He went in and polled some of the top markets for days pending. Let me make it a little bit easier for you to see. Just a second here. Go here like this. There we go. All right. So Naples is 72 days to pending. Cape Coral, 65 days. What do those two things have in common? Punta Gorda, 65 days. So this is all in the same area. Brownsville, Texas, 65. Laredo, Texas, 64, and so on. These are the 15 longest active to pending days right now in the U.S. Then here are the fastest, right? Springfield, 4 days. Akron, Ohio, 6 days. You see a bunch of Midwestern cities in there, and then along with Anchorage, basically, are all these really quick ones. But they're all up. That's the thing. They're all up. Skip the maps. The maps are hard to read on the call, but I'll go down here, skip the maps, skip the maps. This one will tell you the jump in days on market. So like, for example, in Miami, May of 2024, it took 38 days to go pending. It now takes 53. Jacksonville's gone from 35 to 48. New Orleans, 30 to 39, and so on. Austin, 32 to 37. You come down here, there's a couple, like Kansas City, 4 to 5. Oh no, whatever we're going to do, John Tramble. But the bottom line, and some of them have actually gone down. I think Memphis, Tennessee is down a day. And bottom line, though, is that most markets, it's just straight up taking longer to go pending. So I want you to walk through, what do you do with that? How do you use it to help explain the market to a seller? Is that something you're tracking? I want to mastermind around, now that you know this, what would you do with it? Renee, quickly? I can always count on you for stuff like this. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for the opportunity, James. So one of the things that that I leverage is we have what's called a TMO report, Total Market Overview Report, that breaks down each one of the 3 communities that that make up my area, and it shows price point brackets for listing brackets. So different price ranges, the total number of homes that are on the market, compared to how many went pending, the percentage, days on market average, and what they sold for compared to their list price. And so when I'm having a pre-listing conversation and we're having the conversation about, price, I always show a range, but then I show this report and just show them this is what we can anticipate based on last week's activity. So I show them that, but then we also look at the market trends report in RPR to see what, for their neighborhood, what the average days on market is and what that sold or that list to sold price is. And so say for example, I have two clients both in the east end or the west end of Pasco. On one side,
Because you can have one.
1 second.
One.
not a
Okay.
problem.
Go ahead, Renee.
On one side of kind of a really important road in that area that divides the community, on one side it's a buyer's market, on the other side it's a seller's market. And so being hyper focused on those neighborhoods and markets and then looking at that month over month trend for sold to, list to sold helps me to just say, okay, in this part of the neighborhood, we are down 0.2% month over month for what a house listed for and what it sold for. And then looking at that total market overview, seeing what in that price range that they want to be within, how many days on market is, I factor that in. So if it's in fact, I just did this with a client the other day. So if it's down 0.2% month over month and average days on market is 71 days, I'm now going to take that suggested range. I'm going to adjust it by the days on market down 0.2% and price ahead of the curve instead of behind it. So that when we go and enter the market, it's now at a price point that sparks attention and interest to lower the days on market that it takes for them to go from listed to being under contract.
That's perfect, right? So knowing the time frame, knowing how soon they need to sell helps determine the price. It also makes me think about something Gene Jarman taught us a couple of weeks ago, which was this whole concept of when do you want to be moved and backing into it, right? You're 30 to 45 days from contract to close. If you're in Naples, you're 72 days just to get a contract. I mean, now we're talking several months you're going to have to be on the market if you want to be moved by a certain date. Know your timelines. Thank you. Orly, you're next. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. So our market has only begun to transition, and part of it, I didn't know if it was seasonality or if we're finally starting to transition. And I tell everybody, I'll know 3 months from now, looking back, what's going on now, because we only have 18 homes on the market in this town. But when I do my market update every Monday, I'm analyzing the market. I'm looking at how many days on the market are lingering a little bit longer. And granted, it was July 4th weekend. So again, I'm kind of buffering it with, is this the weekend? Is what's going on? Let's keep an eye on it. Less homes are going under contract. So when I went on a listing appointment yesterday, I'm repeating that market update to them. It just so happens they are going to Naples, Florida. So I said to them, you need to find out from the realtor down there how many days on the market are down there, because I'm presuming that it's much longer than up here. They close in 30 days. We close in 60. And to be honest with you, I tell them stories and I say, I tend to be a conservative pricer because I still have PTSD from 2008. And I'm seeing a transition in our market. And I was there when people got caught with their pants down and had to chase the market when I was taking 1 year listings. If this is a transition, I don't want this to happen to you. And I was up against another realtor who had a higher price, but they trusted me. And we went with a more conservative price because you don't know. And I say, if I'm wrong, and I love when I'm wrong, you're going to get multiple offers and we'll sell faster. So either way, it's a win for you.
That's great. Great share. Dan Tamarkin, good morning.
Orly, that was fantastic. And I just appreciate the reminder of telling stories, because what I was going to share is Chartmasters is a great tool for folks that have access to it. One of the biggest geniuses of Chartmasters, James, is that it compares properties that are priced right versus not priced right. And the way they define it, if it's priced right, it went under contract and sold without a price reduction. And obviously, if it wasn't priced right, they had price reductions. And what they do is they break down the number of days on contract. And what I'm able to share, coming back to your original question, like what do I communicate to people in this market, is that in our market, James, for homes in Tampa Bay area, it's taking about 11 days for them to go under contract if they're priced right, but it's taking almost 8 to 9 times, like upward of 100, 110 days for them to go under contract if they're not priced right, with price reduction after price reduction. And then the other genius of this report is that it also shows that when they're priced right, they're getting about 100% of list price, and they're not priced right, they're getting about 91% of list price. So, either they're starting up 10, they're starting up high and coming down, or they're just losing money as people start to lose interest in their properties. And the third genius part of this report is once a quarter, they say, okay, what's your carrying cost? And you can see what the cost is of carrying that property. So coming back to Orly's point about stories, you can share the story of someone that waited 5 months, but their carrying cost was $3,000 a month. So, they lost an extra $15,000 because of what they were spending on that property and the time that they could have sold the property.
So good. Dan,
Yeah.
thank you. Carol Castle, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for letting me share. To Dan's point, which is genius, by the way, when you are wondering if you're pricing properties right, here's a really great tool. If you go look at your multi-year trends, you can see the price that you placed on a property and the price it sold at. You can go back and look at your trends over 5 years or whatever it was. And this is what I tell agents is like, you know what? If I'm always selling below the list price, whether it's market or not, my gut might be off a little bit. Like maybe you're not really into data. Some agents aren't into data like Dan is, and they just kind of get a feeling. I mean, how many agents do we know that I just got a feeling that was the right price? So one of the things that we do is we do the same thing that Renee talked about and Orly talked about. We price ahead of the market. So here's the thing. We've had buyers now. We have a listing and we've had 3 buyers go in and out of contract, but we're still selling it. We're going into contract today, but we're still selling it above list price, but not as high as the first offer because it's been longer and the seller's just more he just wants to sell it. So he's taking a lower offer, but it's still above list price because we priced it right at the beginning. So his anticipation of selling over list is still there. So just know your data and look at your own results, look at your own data. And if you are always listing 10% over the market of what you really sell it for, take a thought. Pause, get more data, like Dan said.
Okay, that's a really good point. I'm going to bring this up if I can get in here in time because Stephanie mentioned this in the Facebook group when I posted. I posted all this yesterday in Pivot, so some of you have seen this already. But Stephanie commented on it, and I will share with you what she said. So let me pull it up so you can see. Go here, portion of the screen. All right. And I have to resize it. All right, so here's the post that I put all this data in here yesterday inside of Pivot. But here's what Stephanie Edison said. She said, I love this stat. The average days for being under contract in Palm Beach County is 42 days, but my average is 18. This is a great thing to add to my listing appointments, right? That she's telling people, look, yes, average days to contract is this, but when you list with me, we get it to this, and here's why. Like to be able to share the strategies that you use, and it adds validity to what you're doing. So I would encourage you to go and look up what's your data, what's your stat, how quickly are you getting homes under contract, and then compare that to the market, and that becomes a selling point for you. Lainey, you get the last word. Good morning.
Good morning. So what everybody said is spot on. I get hyper local. I had 3 listing appointments last week. All 3 of them were condos. I went back 3 months with the data and it's price reduction, price reduction, price reduction. I asked them the type of information for data, how they would like it presented, because some people percentages means nothing to them. So I asked them how they like it, but I literally drill it down to the days. And then I do what everybody else has said. And I do the carrying cost breakdown for them and how it, like, look at these people have been chasing the market for 3 months. Do you want to be there? And this is what it's going to cost you. So I've done the exact same things, but I literally drill it down to everything. It's drilled down to hyper local to that specific development. And it works. It works. So
it's great. Know your numbers, know your stats, be able to share them. Hey, I promised that we would put links in the chat for the Wednesday webinar and for the shift workshop. So those are both there. WednesdayWebinar.jamesdshaw.com. That's my Ashley Wilson interview on her pre-listing process. And then our shift workshop is the 31st, jamesdshaw.com/events. Links are in both chats. Thanks for being here. Inspire members, I'll see you at noon Eastern for our mid-year review. And we have a pretty cool announcement today for Inspire members that we're going to share with you. So excited to share some exciting news with our Inspire members today at noon Eastern. Everyone else, we'll see you tomorrow. You got your inspiration. Go put in the perspiration. Bye.
Thanks.